Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk with Tammy, brought to you by BKNR Resources. And BKNR Resources is a comprehensive consulting company in working with individuals, businesses, schools, government organizations. They have 10-year-long track record in conducting seminars, workshops, and individual services on personal branding and appearances. And as usual, for those of you who are watching it for the first time, this show basically features interesting personalities from all walks of life, sharing profound insights into relevant topics. I'm Tammy, your host, and my basis for the show has always been about my personal journey to learn about anything that piques my interest or curiosity. So let's not waste any more time. Allow me to introduce my guest of the evening, Karishma.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for the invitation. I'm very honored.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to give a brief introduction about Karishma for those of you who don't know her. Karishma is a dentist, a curl enthusiast, entrepreneur, TikTok newbie, millennial rap, and a karaoke connoisseur. She's the proud owner of CURLrinting, the first curl community in Malaysia. And since 2019, she's very happy with the impact it has made. She believes as we learn to take care of our natural hair and its textures, we will then learn to love ourselves as well. In 2020, CURLrinting became an official and registered stockist for international and local curly products. And for 2021, she's actually planning for more growth for her brand and also for our community. So I think I want to start with the CURLrinting. Like, what made you start CURLrinting? What was the thought process behind it? Why did you decide to start a curl page?
Actually, I had always been thinking of it
Mm-hmm.
because I felt that I couldn't be the only one who was struggling. Because I
Yep.
could
Okay.
tell that using traditional methods or methods you see on TV, it wasn't working for my hair. Like
Mm-hmm.
you yourself would know what your hair actually can look like,
Mm-hmm.
but then you don't know how to take care of it, so you're like, okay, I'll just tie it up, put oil, use the
Okay.
regular shampoo. And I heard you have to use conditioner, so I'll use that. And then I found overseas influencers and blogs, and I realized, like, okay, they know how to take care of their hair, or at least they have a method
Mm-hmm.
where they can celebrate what they have. And
Correct.
I thought, why can't we have it around here? So, I mean, I was still learning at that point,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought, why not make something where we can all come together and share our experiences to show that I'm not the only one who's going through this.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, if you do have information, we can learn from each other or
Right.
learn what not to do. Um, and yeah, that's why I started like the community page first.
All right. Okay. I remember, yeah, it was back in 2019. I think I was one of the first few people that you approached. I was so
Yeah.
honored, and I was feeling very excited. Like, oh my God, finally someone is like talking about curly hair and what we need to do about it. And
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
No,
I
no, go
felt
ahead.
like,
Mhm.
we keep like in Malay it's like mengeluh, we keep complaining or like, ah, yeah, why can't this be there? Why can't? So I thought, let me just do it, try it
Mhm.
out. It may work,
Mhm.
it may not. So
Right.
yeah, that was nerve-wracking in the beginning, but yeah.
How did you you basically you were approaching a couple of people who you thought, I mean, okay, had curly hair, and you were just trying to learn about their curl hair method
Yeah,
and
I
curl
mean,
care,
I
right?
just wanted everyday Malaysians basically of different cultures,
Mm.
races, to show that, not all of a certain race have curly hair, not all of a certain
Yep.
race have straight hair, so you're not
Mm-hmm.
alone. And
Yep.
also, sometimes when you see it, you know, then you feel more included. So pictures, Instagram, Facebook, when you see
Mm-hmm.
pictures, you are drawn more to that than words. So
Correct.
that was helpful as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Okay, before I forget, for those of you who are watching, please feel free to leave your comments. We can read the comments live. So if you have any questions at all for Karishma, she will be happy to answer your questions. So I think I want to talk about the your personal hair journey, because I would say personally, my hair journey started with not even a love-hate relationship. It was a hate-hate relationship because
Mm,
I had zero idea on how to take care of it
right.
um, till about 20, 23 years old, 24 years old. And then for the longest time, you don't know how to take care of it. That's one. You don't see good representation on media. Like, you never see a curly haired girl on advertisements, or
Yes.
like uh, as an example of beauty, right? And
Yes.
I remember the post when I was sharing this poster. I was talking about Princess Diaries. It was so funny because I was just scrolling through Instagram, and apparently Princess Diaries is 20 years old now. So yeah, yeah, and so and those are one of the first few movies that we grew up watching. And then basically she had hair literally like ours, but just not taken care of. Back when we
Correct.
didn't, right? It was that frizzy, not defined curls, which we were all struggling
Correct.
with, not knowing what to do. And then suddenly she got very pretty. And okay, if I want to be pretty, I need to have straight hair,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
I think early 2000 was the trend where you need to have that dead straight hair. And we know a lot of girls, especially from our community, who went through that trend of straightening their hair continuously. So how was
Yeah.
your personal hair journey?
Okay, so I grew up in Sabah.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very happy I did.
Okay.
However, um, there are not many, well, at that time,
Mm-hmm.
there weren't many Indians there. So, meaning there weren't
Mm,
many people with curly hair. And
right.
then in my family, my immediate family, nobody has curly hair as well. Maybe like
Okay.
a wave here and there, but you just comb it and you're fine. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of figuring out and getting the impression that, oh man, your curly hair is unruly, comb it, tie it. I think you
Mm,
need to put some cream,
mm-hmm.
do that. Kind of keep it hidden.
Yeah,
No one said you're ugly, obviously,
of
but
course.
you just got the feeling that it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
I would go to hairdressers. You think
Oh.
it's difficult now? My God, in those days.
Uh-huh.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, went to the hairdressers. I know I had to have a haircut, but I'm just dreading it because I go there and then they look at my hair and they're like, "Hey, cantik lah you punya rambut ah, mau rebonding?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, you just told me my hair is nice. Why are you asking me to
Uh-huh.
straighten it?"
Exactly.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and the only way they knew how to cut my hair was to straighten it. So basically,
Yeah.
blow dry first and then
Mm-hmm.
cut it. Even at
Yeah.
the age of 10, 12, I'm thinking, like, wait, if I wash my hair, it's gonna look different. Why are the professionals doing this to my hair?
Mm-hmm.
At a
Mm-hmm.
certain point, I started asking questions and thinking, like, do you really need to straighten my hair? And they'd be like, keep quiet, girl. So you just kind of got the impression, okay, I'll just bear it and
Mm-hmm.
just, continue on the way I am. And then internet helped.
Yep.
So, I realized I didn't have to put that much oil in my hair to make
You're
it
right.
look good.
Mm-hmm. Or
Although
hide
oil,
it in braids.
yeah, well, yes, my grandmother, I mean, she's not with me anymore, but she did mention, like, you look really good if you just braided your hair. I'm like, oh man. She had good intentions, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Mm.
Yeah, so that's kind of the journey. And I
Mm-hmm.
just knew that there was potential and
Right.
I didn't give up. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So once you started looking through, like for me personally, what happened was like when I was like 23, 24, you started seeing a lot of curly hair bloggers, or like, they show YouTube videos on how they take care of their hair. And that's when I
Mm,
slowly started transitioning. Like, oh,
yeah.
it blew my mind that you're not supposed to comb your hair.
You know what? You're right. That was probably the number one thing because my
Yeah,
mom to this day still can't accept it that
exactly.
I don't really comb my hair.
Exactly. You're not supposed to comb your hair. Your hair would be better if you sleep on a satin or a silk pillowcase, those kind of things. And, only white tooth combs, not the one with closed teeth where, it just separates your curls and things like that.
Correct.
And then
Yeah.
the fact that when you do that and then you can literally see difference and people
Yeah.
start realizing the difference, and it was just
Correct.
tiny changes, like something as simple as don't comb your hair,
Yep.
you know you know
Correct.
yeah. So how
Correct.
was your transition? What was the first thing that blew your mind, like, okay, what? Right.
Well, that was one thing, not
Mm-hmm.
combing my hair. And
Mm-hmm.
then another thing is looking at ingredients as well,
Right. Mm-hmm.
being aware of what can dry out my hair. Because, you know, we as curly haired people, we know that our hair feels dry a lot of the times. So
Yeah.
you kind of figure out how do I get my hair feeling softer and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
using this versus that, and also looking at like representation. So, you know, culturally, my ancestors are from India and all that. So when I saw like YouTubers or bloggers who were from India and they were using methods where it wasn't just coconut oil, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's interesting. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they have hair similar to mine. It works
Mm-hmm.
for them. Let me give it a shot. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, trying out different products and going to pharmacies and
Mm-hmm.
looking at what they have and not using the old, you know, I think I'm not going to say brands, but you know, like the ones that used to be on TV,
Right.
and then trying out new ones and giving that a shot and realizing, wow, my hair does look different when I use better or more appropriate products.
Mm.
Uh, and also, another boost is when people start noticing your hair
Exactly. Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going down the right path. And it
Mm-hmm.
gives
Mm-hmm.
you confidence, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just a whole cycle.
Mm. I remember while I was researching products and to use, and I was still trying my best, right, to use drugstore products because it's cheaper. And then I
Yeah.
found out this very famous, common drugstore brand actually have a curly hair range. It's just that it's
Hmm.
not available in our country. I was feeling
Right.
so appalled. Yeah, I actually wrote
Right.
to them like, "You have it. Why aren't you selling it here?" And
Right.
they kind of gave like some sort of a neutral, diplomatic answer. But yeah.
Right. I think, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. It's to
Mm,
show brands and also to show people outside of this country or even within, people in
mm-hmm,
power, to show
yeah.
that there is a demand. Like we want
Exactly.
these things. You
Yep.
know, they probably
Yeah.
think like, nah, everybody wants straight hair. You know, I see it on the advertisements, so let's keep it that way. If I get things in, no one's gonna buy it. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Correct.
it's because people are not aware or they don't know
Yep.
how to use them. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
they're not asking for these things. So yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So when it comes to your page, since we're talking about your page, right? What started off like, just about sharing people's experiences and, Malaysians who had curly hair, who have curly hair, and how are they taking care. Now it has become so much more. CURLrinting page has
Yeah.
become so much more. So
Yeah.
what are other things that you are doing right now in terms of your brand and your page?
Okay, so initially it was showing the community like who's
Mm-hmm.
out there, you know, what they're going through. And
Mm-hmm.
then from that information, I'm able to also highlight that there are salons out there
Mm-hmm.
that people are comfortable going to, like they like the end results.
Mm.
Um, However, I still do advise you to watch what they do, how they're doing it to your
Right.
hair,
Mm-hmm.
um, whether or not they insist on blow drying after a haircut.
Right.
I I advise against that because
Mm.
do you
Mm.
blow dry your hair every day? You know, you don't.
Nope.
So you
Yeah.
have to see what the end result will be And then
Yes.
if you're not happy with it, you can just, politely mention, can you just, shorten it here or something like that. So
Right.
try to avoid the end blow dry. Okay, so that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. And then trying to put in information, basic information on maybe ingredients or biology, anatomy, all those things, because it's a process. You can't
Mm.
just dump 1 ton of information one day. People are just gonna go, they're gonna get tired. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna
Too
go to the
tiring.
normal. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So just
Mm-hmm.
like how we go to school and have lessons every day slowly and repetition. So just
Mm.
slow, bits of information. And there are other pages as well that give information here and there. So I'm glad to see that as well.
Right. Right.
That's that.
Mm-hmm.
And we also show products that we carry on our website.
Right.
And here and there, I've also talked about other products that I've tried out, mostly like local. I do that for the local brands.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, after looking at what ingredients they have, I will support them.
Right. So since we're talking about ingredients, but before that, because I see quite a number of people have joined us, please share your comments, or if you have any questions for Karishma, please do so. You can comment and I can show the questions to Karishma and she will answer your questions. Okay, since we're talking about since we're talking about ingredients, so I think the curly hair community is big on ingredients. Like I think one of the few people who will literally read every single thing in the ingredients section of a product, because it's so important, because the hair is very, very delicate. As we mentioned earlier, it's also very dry, and a lot of shampoo or cleansing products are very dry, very drying. So what are the ingredients that we need to look for? What are the ingredients that we need to avoid when we're looking for products?
Okay. I think for me, just looking and trying things out, the number one ingredient I would say to really absolutely avoid are
Mm-hmm.
harsh alcohols,
Right.
because they're unnecessary, actually.
Mm.
You don't need them. And
Right.
if you do use alcohols, just in general, like I'm going to use like a dental reference. We ask our patients not to use mouthwash with alcohol because
Right.
it's like a constant trauma to your
Mm.
hair. So now going back to hair, it'll be a constant trauma to your hair and your scalp, especially if you
Right.
have sensitive scalp. You don't
Mm.
need to use any products that have harsh alcohols in them. And
Right.
then there's the ever popular sulfate. Okay,
Mm.
so what are these sulfates? They're basically a detergent. Okay,
Right.
so they are very useful in the world for many things, but it has been found that sulfates can be harsh.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're talking about curly hair, which is more easily damaged than straight hair,
Mm-hmm.
you can find so many shampoos out there in the world now that clean your hair properly without
Right.
needing sulfates.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I'm not demonizing the ingredient,
Okay.
but you can avoid using them. If
Right.
you do want to use a shampoo with sulfate, actually you
Mm-hmm.
can. However, it's the frequency in using
Mm.
these shampoos.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on your hair type, but maybe you want to use it once in 2 weeks, once a week, once a month. And
Mm.
then the other times when you're washing your hair, you use something milder,
Right.
or a co-wash, for those of you who
Mm-hmm.
don't know what a co-wash is. So
Right.
that's another one. And then there's the silicones. So
Mm.
silicones are why they don't advise silicones are because they're sort of unnecessary as well. They
Okay.
make your hair feel smooth. When you apply a certain product like a conditioner, and you're like, wow, this just goes through my hair and just slips
Right.
through. It must be wonderful. So
Mm-hmm.
initially, yes, it makes your hair feel really nice.
Right.
But as you keep using it, it actually builds up on your hair.
Mm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
you have, let's say, long curly hair, it will weigh it down even further.
Right.
So silicone is something you don't need. So
Mm-hmm.
there are products out there that don't have silicones. Go for that one. Because
Okay.
once you have a lot of product, you will need something harsher to remove every time.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. What else? Well, they say mineral oils are something you should avoid.
Okay.
That also is something that can build up. Mineral oils are a little controversial because actually the biggest thing I was surprised with is that baby oil is 90% and above mineral oil, actually.
Okay. Okay.
You can use in babies. So it's not that it would cause harm, like cancer or whatever. It's just that it is unnecessary and it can build up. So a
Right.
lot of these ingredients that we avoid are things that may build up unnecessarily, and
Okay.
or it may be harsh and drying.
Right.
When we're trying so hard to moisturize, why you want to dry some more? So
Yeah. Correct.
yeah, I think those are the common ones.
And those are the things that we want to avoid. Are there any ingredients that would be great for curly hair in particular?
Water.
Okay.
Water
Always
is
thirsty.
really good. Yeah, water ingredients, well, it really depends on your hair type. Like
Okay.
let's say we talk about alcohols, not every alcohol is bad.
Right.
There are good alcohols as well. I did write down a list here, so I'm not sure if
Okay.
anyone's interested, but I'll go through
Okay.
like the more common ones that I've seen as well. Cetyl alcohol, cetearyl alcohol, benzoyl alcohol. So these are alcohols you'll see, and some people when they see alcohol, oh my God, I am not using that anymore.
Right.
You have to know why these alcohols are there. So these alcohols actually they help with slip, meaning they can glide in through your hair easily. Like
Okay.
when you're in the shower, you can tell I like this conditioner because I can detangle my hair so much easier compared to this other conditioner where I really have to struggle and put it through my hair. So perhaps they have these components in them and they are not the harsh drying kinds of alcohols, so that's
Right.
fine. And then you've got things like glycerin. Some people like them, some people don't. Glycerin is a humectant, so
Okay.
scientific word lah, but basically it means that once it's in your hair, it kind of it's like a magnet. It pulls
Right.
in moisture from the environment. So in countries where it's really dry, there are people who like using products with glycerin because whatever moisture that's there in the air, okay, fine, let it
Right.
get in. When you're in like a humid country like Malaysia, some people don't like it because it then causes frizz
Yeah.
easily. So you have to try out and test and see what works for your hair. And then you've got like the basic oils, if you're just talking about hair, then you've got those moisturizing oils like jojoba oil and coconut oil. If you're talking
Yeah.
about your
Correct.
scalp, you can use like peppermint oil, tea tree oil, rosemary oil, sometimes even onion if you don't mind the smell. But
Yeah.
these kind of things. But remember that oils, they do not give you water, no moisture, but they can help
Right.
to seal in the moisture for your hair. But they've got like vitamins and minerals that can help with your scalp. I find like a lot of people, they only think about their hair and they forget about their scalp. So when people come to me and like, oh, what product's good for me? Well, then I ask about their scalp as well, especially people with hair fall problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And that's like super enlightening because I am doing a little bit, but I have not gone deeper, like into the point that, looking at the ingredients and things like that. I'm still sticking to drugstore products. And the fact that, but at the same time, I know I'm doing it wrong because I wash my hair every 2 days. So that is pretty frequent. And that's going to dry, right?
Okay. So I don't think it's wrong, actually.
Okay.
You can do
Okay.
anything. I believe you can do anything to your hair as long
Mm-hmm.
as you understand what products to use for those situations,
Mm.
how often you need to use this and that. For me, I wash my hair every day, which is actually
Oh,
not
okay.
because of the nature of my work. I have to,
Okay.
with
Right,
COVID and
right.
all that.
Yeah.
I wash my hair every day, but because I
Okay.
have to, I make sure that I'm using light shampoos or co-washes that are moisturizing. And
Mm-hmm.
then, one day I clean everything like a reset with the cleansing shampoo, and then again with the co-wash. So it
Right.
can be done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't want people to feel like you're going to be judged if you don't
Uh-huh. Yeah.
follow, yeah, the
Yeah.
curly method. Oh my god, I'm skipping this and skipping that. It's
Yeah.
fine. You
Correct.
need to know what works for you. The reason why I talk about it so much is because people don't know it exists.
Mm.
So they need to know that there is an option. So if you like it or you don't, that's up to you, but try it
Mm.
out and see if it
Okay.
works for you. Yeah.
Okay. That made me feel so much better because I literally wash every 2 days. And then I'm like, okay, I'm drying out my hair so much. But
i'm
yeah, but
glad
I
i'm glad you did that.
yeah, but I really think I need to. I will come back to that question about co-wash because yeah, I think we need to learn about co-wash as well. So I think let's go to the curly hair glossary. Some of the weird words that we use to explain the condition of our hair, but I don't think a
Okay.
lot of people know what it means. Like for example, earlier you mentioned the curly girl method. I think it's
Okay.
pretty famous. A lot of people know about it, CGM, curly girl method. But even for me, when I read it, I felt like it was too tedious. Like for
Yeah.
me, it was like I'm just gonna pick what I can do. I'm not gonna follow it completely. But what is about curly girl method? Why is it so famous?
Okay. So it's so famous because there was nothing before it. You know,
Mm,
someone actually came up with something and put it in a
right.
book. So,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, so
Mm-hmm.
in 2011, a lady named Lorraine Massey, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, she was the one who came up with it. She's a professional hairstylist in the US currently. And she came up with that. With that, she had a few rules, and it seemed very strict. So I think there
Yeah.
were about 6 rules. So absolutely no sulfates, silicones, no alcohols, no using heat. Don't brush your hair. What else? Did I miss something? Oh, yes. No artificial fragrances. So
Mm,
on our website, we actually did a short article on it. Thanks, Denisha, for putting that together. Shout out.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so just going through the few rules, it's really difficult to follow all these 6
Yeah.
rules. So
Correct.
people came up with something called the Modified Cgm, where
Mm,
they may not be following everything, or they might be tweaking certain things. Like as
okay.
I mentioned earlier, the no sulfates thing. Yes,
Mm,
avoid, but in terms of frequency,
yeah.
um, if you want to, you can, but don't use it often.
Mm,
Anyway, there are products out there that have zero sulfates that work really well. And
okay.
then silicones, make sure they are the non-water soluble silicones. Those are the bad ones. So
Mm,
avoid that because that is just unnecessary. Like you don't need it. And then
mm,
no artificial fragrances. I mean, that makes sense. Sometimes you see in children's products, parents, they buy things that have no artificial fragrances because
yeah.
maybe they want to avoid, for sensitive skin.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes these artificial fragrances are drying. So that's
Right.
one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then no alcohols. So as I mentioned earlier, there are good alcohols and there are bad alcohols. So
Yeah.
yes, avoid the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then no heat styling. So here's where you can tweak that. Um, we have something called a diffuser. When I
Yeah.
say we, it's because of that certain attachment is really good for curly hair. It doesn't like poof up our hair so much or separate the the curl clumps.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show for people who don't know what a diffuser is. I always say it looks like, you know, those lotus bulbs. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of that. So
Yeah.
basically, it just kind of like pulls your hair in without, like, if you see in advertisements, they're like, oh, blowing in the wind. We don't
Yeah.
want that.
You don't want
So
that.
yes, that has heat, but on low heat and
Mm-hmm.
not blowing full force, you
Yeah.
can use it. It's
Mm.
difficult to never use heat, especially if you're
Correct.
someone who has to dry their hair on the go.
Mm-hmm.
It's not wrong, but you need to make sure that your hair is healthy. So
Right.
when your hair is healthy, if you want to straighten it for a night out, go ahead.
Yeah.
But if your hair is brittle and really, you know, the ends just need a trim, you might want to avoid heat, that
Right.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, don't brush your hair.
Mm.
Like really, never? No. There are ways to brush it. So you can brush it when it's wet in the shower, especially when you
Mm-hmm.
put in conditioner. It can
Mm-hmm.
glide, you know, easily through. And
Yeah.
then there's a technique where instead of brushing from the top down, I'm sure you all know, just like, oh, it gets stuck halfway. You can
Correct.
start from the bottom
Yeah.
slowly, and then
Correct.
work your way up. So there are
Yeah.
ways, and there's so many brands nowadays, different brushes, shapes, lengths, lah. So yeah, obviously that rule doesn't really apply anymore.
Mm.
So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
since we are not combing our hair, or and we need at one point to detangle it, we can't have it, all knotted up.
yes,
So there must be
correct.
some point where we have to brush our hair.
However,
Mm-hmm.
there was a period, personally for me, I think maybe a year or two, I really did not have a brush at all. I
At
just
all. Okay.
because
Use fingers. Yeah, of
yeah,
course. Mm.
exactly.
Because we don't need how to say fine tooth comb anyway. So if it's going to be white tooth, your fingers can do the same thing. So yeah, you
Yeah.
just have to remove all the knots one by one.
And they found now that you can really style your hair beautifully with brushes.
Yes,
So
Denman brushes, right?
it's an outdated book, but thank you, Lorraine, for starting it,
Yeah,
you know.
correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I personally felt like it was great that she put something out, but for
Yeah.
someone who is only starting, it would have been so overwhelming
Yeah.
because that is like 180 degrees lifestyle change. A lot
Yeah.
of things that we grew up doing have to be,
Yes.
let go, and all the things that we
Correct.
thought is normal is wrong. So yeah, it could have been
And it's
overwhelming for some
expensive
people.
as well. Like you can't, you know, some people can't just throw out what
Mm-hmm.
they own. So you do
Correct.
it in stages and then you
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a journey. Plus the fact that even when you have a certain rule, it doesn't apply to different texture, different curls, type,
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
You're right. And then since we are at C, curly girl method, and then you spoke about co-wash just now.
Right.
So what is
So,
co-wash?
co-wash is basically two words, conditioner wash.
Mm,
This one is like the the concept is basically using something that helps with the cleansing process, the cleaning
right.
of your hair and scalp, without
Mm-hmm.
having drying ingredients put on your hair and scalp. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really, really, really good for those people who have to wash their hair every day and don't want
Mm,
to dry out their hair, or people with dry scalp as well.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're using co-washes, you have to use your fingers, or it's like mechanical. You have to put in pressure and clean because
Okay.
it doesn't have those ingredients that really
Can
remove,
really,
yes,
right.
get
Mm,
everything off. If
mm,
you just rolled in the mud, obviously you need to use a cleansing shampoo.
right. Right.
But if it's just, you walked out, came back in, cleansing shampoo, co-wash, you just apply it, and then you have to wash everything off
Mm-hmm.
usually,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're gonna apply a leave-in cream later, because otherwise it
Right.
might weigh down your hair. So there are
Mm,
different types of co-washes actually. Some are really rich, heavy with oils. people with dry scalp can really benefit from those, and those with really dry hair. But
Okay.
then people who have sensitive scalp or scalp that is prone to fungal infections, or they're really oily, they can't really tolerate those kind of co-washes. So go
Right.
for lighter, mild shampoos. And I think people haven't discovered this. And once you try it, you will see a big difference. And
Okay.
I mean, it's one of my favorite curly girl products, to be honest,
Which is
because I
co-wash,
have
is
to
it?
wash my. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Because the one that I'm using, especially like when I put it through, I can detangle my hair even with it. And then I never had the thing where using a shampoo I can detangle. It's always still knotted when I'm shampooing my hair. And then when I
Correct.
condition,
Correct.
then I can go through. But then with
Yeah.
co-wash, I can detangle. And
Okay.
yeah, if anyone has not tried co-washing, I do urge you to give it a go.
Right. Okay. And that is for usually, I mean, obviously you want something light because you want to wash your hair every day, right?
Yeah, yeah. But some people
Mm.
like the heavy types of co-washes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think recently I noticed like in the local pharmacies there was a brand that brought in like a co-wash, but
Okay.
it's quite rich. And so for those who
Right.
like that sort of co-wash, you can give that a
Mm-hmm.
shot and see
Okay.
if that
I
works for
think a
you. But
lot
if
of
you
us are
really,
conditioned, pun intended, a lot of us are conditioned to use conditioner from, from this part here below. They always say, don't put it near the
right,
scalp, right?
yeah.
So
So
this, yeah.
yeah, so that's why it's good to see what the label is like.
Mm,
I wouldn't recommend using just a conditioner to try and clean, because
right.
usually lah, the conditioners that we have are very rich, and if
Mm,
you just keep using rich stuff that doesn't really wash out, you'll get build up a lot faster.
right.
So if you don't mind that, then go ahead. But for me personally, my scalp can't really tahan that, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So co-wash, all right. And then another one, I think another adjective that we like to use to describe our hair is crunchy.
Okay. Okay. So I associate that with a few conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess one thing for someone who has never tried any curly girl products, maybe you associate that with dry hair.
Right.
It's just, maybe your ends are just so dry that when you touch them, they're just like grr, grr, grr. Okay, that could be crunchy.
Correct.
Another thing is a gel cast.
Mm,
So a cast, for people who may not know, is basically when you like break your arm, you have to put it in a cast, and it just holds it firmly. So
right.
that's the thought process between in calling gel cast, because when you put
Mm-hmm.
in your leave-in cream, or maybe you don't like putting that, you just want to put a gel,
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes hard, you
Right.
know. And the reason that you have a gel is actually to hold the curls. Some people like the hard feeling, they like it
Mm-hmm.
because then it really holds their curls in place. But most
Correct.
people don't. They like soft curls, bouncy soft curls. So
Mm-hmm.
then when they are scrunching out the crunch, SOTC, then there's the
Mm-hmm.
crunchiness. So
Right.
that's one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then one other situation I can think of where it can be crunchy is probably like protein. It's something they call protein overload.
Mm, right.
So I don't know how common it is here in
Mm-hmm.
Malaysia,
Right.
but it's the situation where there's just too much protein compared to moisture being in your hair. So maybe
Right.
you've been doing protein treatments every week,
Mm,
and not really providing enough moisture. Then your hair is just overloaded with protein. then it becomes, crunchy and straw-like, grass, all that sort of feeling. So that would be one of the situation I would associate crunchy with.
And I think one more would be probably if you use mousse instead of a styling cream or a gel.
Yeah,
right?
so with mousse, you have to see the ingredients. So
Right?
because a lot of these mousses, they come in these bottles or cans where they're like sprayed out.
Yeah.
Some will have alcohol. That's
Right.
just a given. Some of them, but there are many now out there, although overseas, that don't have alcohols. So
Right.
that will be less of a crunchy feeling, I'd say.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. And I think a lot of people will also be confused about the term clarifying shampoo because they're like all shampoos clarify, right? So why are we calling it clarifying shampoo?
Right.
So
So yeah, so because we talked about co-wash already, and so from our conversation that co-washes do not clarify. So they do not, basically what it means is remove all the product build-up, from your creams lah, your gels lah. It doesn't remove the dirt from the environment, there's pollution everywhere now. And then it also doesn't remove all. It removes some lah, all these things, it removes some. But clarifying shampoos are supposed to remove 1, 2, and the last one is the natural oils from our scalp. We all have some oil, whether you have dry or oily scalp. So you need to once in a while reset everything. Otherwise, you've got things hanging on and maybe weighing down your hair, especially if you're someone who likes volume. You like your curls, high and bouncy and for everyone to see. So for those people who like volume, you have to make sure that you have a day where you are clarifying and or cleansing and using shampoos that are labeled as clarifying or cleansing, or you can include a shampoo that has sulfate, but don't use that very often.
So like once a week or something.
It really depends on your hair type and your scalp. And also, where you go, all that. So obviously with curly hair, don't wash super often if you can, because that keeps stripping. But then now that they've brought in co-washers, it gives you the leeway to wash every day or not, and then see your scalp as well. If your scalp is a super oily type, you're gonna have to wash a bit more often, because if your scalp is oily and the pores there get clogged so often, it will contribute to hair loss as well. You go to all these hair loss experts, they will scan, right? They will scan your scalp and they'll show you, you see it's clogged, it's dirty. They're right, I don't know if they show you a fake picture or not, but they're right about having, clogged pores is not good. So that's another reason why you need something that really clean.
Okay. And I think another funny word we always use is pineapple.
Well, I think pineapple is basically our lazy bun lah, right?
Yeah, basically it's lazy bun, yeah.
But I guess positioning wise, it's more right on top lah, what that is it's for many uses lah, but initially it's to keep your hair together, where it kind of helps preserve the curl pattern longer, because if you, let's say, tie it back, then you're probably stretching out the curls on top, and then it flattens things here, so then when you open up, it's like, oh, flat here, and then maybe one bekas that here.
Yeah,
It just looks
correct.
weird. So then
Right.
a pineapple kind of reduces the incidence of that happening. And also they advise to use silk or satin scrunchies, so that when you are letting it go, it's just like floop, comes off,
Correct.
slips off, it doesn't
Yeah.
get knotted. So you can use that, when you're in the house and you just don't want your hair getting in the way, or you want to preserve, like, okay, I got a bomb wash day, but I need to keep them, I'm going to go out later. So you can do that. Or when you're going to sleep, you can put that up in a pineapple, and then you sleep on your satin or silk pillowcase, or you put it in a bonnet as well. Some people like that. Especially for those who have really long hair,
Right.
they like to know that it's going to be all in one place, so that's one thing. And you can even use it as a style, like you put it in a pineapple, and then maybe put like a scarf, and then you tie here, it's just basically tying your hair up in a bun here, right on top, like.
Right. Yeah,
I
that's like
wanted
my
to say a
favorite.
god thing, but I don't think everybody
Sorry,
knows.
what's that again?
I was going to reference a god, but I don't, a deity in Hinduism, but probably
Okay.
not.
Yeah. Or some saint, or someone who is like
Yes, yeah,
meditating
correct.
in the middle of the jungle or something
Yeah,
like that.
correct. He wants his curls preserved too.
Yep. And what about deep conditioning? Now that we already use a lot, I think that's one of the, how to say, it's a stereotype now, I think, for curly haired girls or curly haired people, that we use tons of conditioner. And then we also have deep conditioning. So what is the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna admit, like, when they say dime size amount of conditioner, I'm like, come on, girl, don't lie. You put more than that.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah. So with conditioner, you apply how much you need, lah. But
Mm,
there are days that you can do deep conditioning, and there are two types. So you can do deep conditioning where it adds more moisture to your hair. So
mm,
once you are more familiar with what your hair needs, then you can either do a moisture concentrated sort of deep conditioning, or you can do like protein treatment sort of deep conditioning.
okay.
Those are two treatments that you can do at home.
Okay.
You can use sometimes like your favorite conditioner, leave it
Mm-hmm.
on for longer, um, and sometimes it's how to say, advised to use heat, but indirect heat. Don't like put conditioner on your hair and use a hair dryer like that. Nah, that's gonna spoil your hair. So you
Right.
use indirect heat, like a heat cap. Uh, that provides you some heat that
Mm-hmm.
helps everything to penetrate better into the hair. This is especially good for those with low porosity hair.
Right. Mm.
Porosity, there are roughly three types: low, medium, which is a mixture, and then high.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it means that our hair is not just one wire, one straight, impenetrable wire. It actually has pores all
Mm.
along, berlubang lah. So
Right.
some have high porosity where moisture can go in and out super easily, and
Right.
then low is just like, it's not getting in. So
Mm.
for those with low porosity hair, they want to do a moisture treatment because it's so hard to get the moisture in. You can add on that indirect heat component to make it
Mm-hmm.
even better. It's basically
Right.
like a spa treatment, you can do at home, that
Mm.
adds to the health of your hair.
Right. Okay. So we were talking in
Oh,
length
sorry.
about,
You
yes,
can do DIY masks as well.
yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
one thing about that, a lot of people, they think natural is the best.
Mm.
Not necessarily. Okay, why are products sometimes better than natural? It's because the ingredients in these products are already broken down to small particles that are small enough to get into the hair.
Correct.
Whereas these natural sauces are, it's great when you eat them, because
Yeah.
after eating them, your intestines, like your digestive system absorbs or serap everything, and your body then only can benefit.
Yeah.
Whereas same thing on your hair, if the holes are that tiny and you're putting like a chunk of avocado, just how much is going in? So
Correct.
if you want to do a natural mask, go ahead, but I would not advise it often, because you might end up losing more money there.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, it's redundant and nothing is going in, and yet you're spending so much making all this mask using expensive
Yeah.
ingredients.
Unless you use it and you find it really helpful, like you see a difference in your hair, then go ahead. I know
Yeah.
some people who really like mayonnaise for the
Mm-hmm.
protein.
Mm-hmm.
They like, they find it really helps, but end up sleeping in the bathroom, so you've got that.
Okay, I've used mayonnaise before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mayonnaise doesn't just clog your arteries, they also make you slip and fall, but
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, some of the weird things that we do just so that your hair gets the love it deserves. A lot of people were so scandalized when I say that, oh, I'm buying mayonnaise packets, but it's for my hair mask.
Egg, oh man, it stinks.
Yeah. So we were talking about all of this. So I'm very curious about how your personal hair routine is like, because I'm looking at your hair and I keep thinking about the time when I used to have hair almost as long as yours. And I know it takes ages to dry. And I think one of the best things that I did was to cut my hair because I don't have to worry about that anymore. So how is your hair routine like?
Okay, so this length took time. It
Mm,
took time and patience. I find people, they try a product once and they're like, my hair does not look like yours. Like, your hair may not be like mine. So,
exactly.
and sometimes there even influencers or YouTubers out there, they show their journey. Sometimes it takes them 2 years to
Yep.
achieve the shiny ringlets, that you see. So that's there. Time, patience, always going through the ingredients as much as
Mm-hmm.
you can. It can be tiring. There are websites out there that can help with that. There's one I have used before, curlsbot.com. You can try that. But then even after that, you just go through those ingredients that they tell you to stay away from, so you understand why.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my personal hair routine, like I mentioned, I wash my hair every day.
Yep.
I use a co-wash
Mm-hmm.
very often,
Mm-hmm.
probably every 2 days. So I use a co-wash, and then on the third day, it's like a clarifying or cleansing shampoo, because my
Mm-hmm.
scalp is oily. So I
Okay.
can't go so long without washing or cleaning my scalp.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I make sure I do that. And then I love a good conditioner. I don't I don't know how people can go without conditioning.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Perhaps they've never tried. Please try it. You'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, if I am putting anything in my hair, it's usually a leave-in cream or a curl cream first, and
Mm-hmm.
then a gel on top of it. I smooth a gel on top of that. There are days where I don't put any leave-in products. I just,
Mm-hmm.
let it rest. But I find that my hair dries faster when I do put in products, because
Right.
the curls are kind of together, so there's space.
Mm.
Whereas when I don't put in any products to form these curl clumps. They're just kind of like one bunch of hair, and so that it's keeping the moisture underneath and inside longer, I find.
Right.
Where the ends dry out so much faster, and then inside is just still, perap ayam kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's what I do. Sometimes I like to put in apple cider vinegar. They recommend to dilute it with water first, and then put it in. It can work well for your hair as well, as like a clarifying, natural clarifying ingredient that you can try. But it is acidic, so don't go overboard on that.
Right.
I like the feeling that it gives. Like it makes my scalp less itchy.
Okay.
So I like that one. But if you have dry scalp, I wouldn't recommend using it very often.
Right.
Yeah, that's there. Sometimes I do a dry refresh, especially when I'm in a rush. I need to go somewhere. Like, oh man, my hair the ends look bad. So quickly one cream, like that. Okay, done. Then I go.
Okay. Okay.
I take breaks here and there. It's fine if you can't follow
Yeah, I
every
mean,
step every day.
it is unfortunately a chore. It is a lot of work. But what people see is
It
the
is
end
though, because I
products.
do. Yeah, it is. But then because of those routines, I can see that my hair is better. I have less hair fall. My scalp feels better, so I'm happy I tried it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I mean, you don't want to
Yeah.
go through life hating what you have rather
Yeah,
instead of embracing it.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, we have a comment saying that such a good sharing.
Oh, hi. Hi, Ristan.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think she's a fan of your curls.
Thanks.
Okay.
Achievable,
Um,
achievable,
sorry.
achievable, achievable.
She says hi. Okay, so I mean, one good thing about the current generation would be the fact that okay, I sound so old when I say that, but they would have the chance to basically immediately see a lot of curly hair inspiration
Mm, mm,
around them. And like I said in the beginning, like probably 10, 15 years ago, you barely see a curly haired girl on an
yeah.
advertisement and on print media. But now I actually notice there's always going to be, I mean, it is going to be a token curly haired girl, but at least there's one for
Yeah,
diversity. For
correct.
every single, it doesn't matter what kind of advertisement it is. It doesn't matter if it's not a hair product. It could be a random sports attire, but you will see a model with a straight hair, a model
I've
with a
noticed,
curly hair,
yeah.
right? So it's great. So what would for girls who have finally decided to transition and try to embrace their natural curls, what advice would you give them?
Um, when other people try to bring you down and be like, "Ayah, no need lah, just straighten your hair, easy what?" You
Right.
know, good things, they require effort, they require time. So put in the work, because it's for what you have, it's yourself. Just how you look after the health of your body, you eat right,
Mm,
you exercise. What's wrong in taking care of your hair as well? Okay.
right.
If it has to do with finances, do it in stages. You know,
Mm.
it's not that Malaysian pharmacies have zero products.
Mhm.
They do have some products. So maybe try change shampoo first.
Right.
Try that, or change your conditioner first. Or if you've never put in leave-in products, see how your hair reacts to putting leave-in creams, and like, oh
Mm.
wow, I can see a change. And be
Mhm.
confident with what you have. Nowadays, you see on social media a lot of people are, just your everyday friends are putting up pictures with their hair and they're just like, damn, like showing it everywhere. And people are responding positively. And they're like,
Yep.
wow, you look so good.
Mm.
Last time you never really see that. So
Yeah.
know that it is beautiful, don't be shy, don't give up, and always read the ingredients, do your research, put in the effort.
Mm.
If someone says, oh, this is for curly hair, is it? Really look into it.
Mm.
You have to take responsibility for your health in
Right.
that sense. Don't
Right.
just give money to anybody who says this will cure everything. No, do your research as well.
Right.
So that's what I would
Okay.
advise.
Okay. Oh, I have one more question actually regarding your hair care routine. Now that, okay, you're washing, your hair looks perfect, but I mean, we know that the next day, once we wake up, it's going to be slightly dry or the curls will not be as defined anymore. So, what do you usually do for the next day? Because obviously, the next morning you're going out, you're going to go to work, and how do you make sure the curl look as good as now at this point?
Okay, so there are two ways I do it, or you
Mm-hmm.
can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can dry refresh, which is putting in a cream just straight away on your hair, or maybe a gel straight away. The
Okay.
only trouble with doing this is that you tend to put more than you actually need, and that leads to weighing down your hair, you know, which is unnecessary. Another
Right.
thing is to refresh using a bit of water. So
Mm.
you spray some water lightly, and then
Mm-hmm.
you put on a bit of product. Because if you just put water, it look good then, but then once you go out, it'll get really frizzy. So
Right.
the best actually is to put a bit of water, put a bit of product, try and dry the hair first before going, but you may not have the time.
Okay.
So, you have those options. You can either dry, but understand what will
Okay.
happen, and then wet. And yeah, it usually ends up, or if all else fails, I put it up in a nice hairdo, and just
Yeah.
camouflage away.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if all else, I mean, everything fails, just go with the messy bun.
Yeah, and people think like, wow, that was planned. No.
And how would you define a good hair day?
Okay, so personally, I like definition,
Mm.
um, which means that when you look at somebody's hair, you can see the curls very clearly, ringlets like that. I like it for my hair.
Mm-hmm.
But some person may think a volume is a good hair day. So they love the poofiness, they like it, just moving a lot.
Yeah.
That's maybe a good hair day for them. And
Mm-hmm.
the best is to try and achieve both.
Right.
So
Right.
for me, is when I can see my curls, and I feel it's a good representation. I try to represent as much as
Mm.
I can,
Okay.
so yeah, that's good
All
for
right.
me.
And I think we're coming to the last question. What can we look forward? Because you did mention that you have plans for CURLrinting, right? So, what are your plans? What is can we see in the future?
Well, I'm trying to bring in more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in contact with
Mm-hmm.
um, what do you call it, the owners or the brands themselves, and
Right.
I like to make sure that I build a good rapport and connection with these
Mm-hmm.
brands, because I'm looking at longevity, and also when you work together with people, there has to be a good relationship there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing. And then I'm planning to probably release something very soon
Oh, okay.
under our brand.
Right.
Quite excited and nervous about that, but that will be
Okay.
coming soon. and I will be showing like why I believe it should be here or it should be available, and how it can be incorporated into everyone's routine,
Okay.
whether at home, on the run, or even at salons. So yeah, that'll be quite soon.
Okay.
Besides that, in the future, I hope that we can have meets.
Yep.
That would be really nice. Hope to see you there as well. The kind of
I will be
thing.
there.
Yeah. So I think it's achievable. So
Yeah, I mean,
that is
I
one.
think once this pandemic is over and we can
Yeah.
actually meet up, that it'll be great to have like curl festivals and things like that where we just
Yeah.
meet everyone else who has curly
Exactly.
hair. Yeah, just have
Exactly.
fun.
I want it to be a place where they feel appreciated and be like, okay, I want to achieve that, or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are the few things that I'm excited
Okay.
for. Yeah.
Right. That's okay. That sounds super interesting, and I can't wait for your new release.
Ah.
Anytime, anytime. Is it like in the next few months or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And okay, I have another comment that says, "Nice to see people talking about curly hair. She has a curly hair too."
Hi, Ishwari.
Okay, I think I have learned so much. I mean, I keep telling myself that I need to do more, but yet I don't because that's just me being lazy. But I think uh, it is at the end of the day a journey to
Yeah.
like your hair because the fact that I mean curly hair, the appreciation for curly hair is only getting traction for the last few years. We're still new in this whole thing, in trying to embrace or in terms of accepting curly as another way people can look good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is great. Whatever that you're doing is great, and I'm glad to be a part of your journey from from the early years.
Yes. Yeah, for those of you who follow Tammy, you can come into our Instagram page and check out her feature.
Yeah, you have to scroll way back down.
Yeah. Thank you
Racine
for
actually
this
says,
opportunity.
"Oh, I am honored as well." So she says, "Best wishes and thanks for the enlightenment."
Oh, best wishes to you too, RL.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I think I couldn't have found a better person to talk about this. And yeah, this is great. This was great. Thank you so
I
much.
had fun. Yeah.
You had a lot to share, and I'm glad that I think if anyone who's watching it would have learned something as well.
I hope it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, and please do follow Karishma's page, CURLrinting. You get to see so many beautiful people there, and you get to
Yes, you can.
also learn. And I mean, you review products there as well, right? So you can try out, and you also have a website. Am I right?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's
And that's where you write your
www.
blog post and.
We that's where you can purchase any of the
Mm-hmm.
products, and also we do have some blog posts there. We've got
Mm-hmm.
information on the website and information on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Like the simpler posts are on Instagram and Facebook. The longer ones are on the website.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Karishma.
Thanks, Tammy. Good
See
night.
you soon. Good night. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Okay. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Thank you so much. We've been here since 8 p.m. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for listening. And if you want to watch the full episode, you can watch it on BKNI Resources YouTube channel. Or if YouTube videos are not your thing, you can you can listen to it on Spotify. Good night. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.